What's up, everybody? We're back with another Motivation Monday. I'm here with one of my dogs, Razzie, and today I'm going to get a little vulnerable. I'm going to tell you a story from 2020, and I'm going to tie in different themes. So in 2020, I was a senior in college. I went to Aurora University, go Spartans, and my goal was to play professional football. Now, of course, I wanted to play in the NFL. That was the main goal, and between my junior and senior year at Aurora University, I had a really good freshman and sophomore year. Between my junior and senior year at Aurora University, out of 21 games, I played in 5 because of injuries. And a lot of the injuries were my fault. I was training not correct. I was overtraining and I wasn't training smart, which is why I love training athletes now, is because I could teach them the stuff that got me injured, especially the non-contact injuries with my hamstrings, which I attribute to me. But 2020, my senior year, get a whole new coaching staff. Coach Beebe and his staff come in, and we do really well. But I play in one full game, okay, because of injury. So I'm at a small D3 school, so the odds of playing pro football even at a big D1 school are very slim. So at a D3 school, forget it, man. It's a diamond. It's rare. It's very rare. But I had that goal. I had that aspiration. But obviously, even if I did have a monster year, I wouldn't be on too many pro teams' radars. But I didn't have a monster year. Like I said, I played in 1 out of 11 games fully because I had a high ankle sprain. I almost tore my UCL in my thumb. But I remember sitting in Coach Beebe's office, and I wanted to play pro football. So I asked him, 9-year NFL veteran, Super Bowl winning football player turned coach, what do I have to do? And he didn't sugarcoat anything. He said the odds were against me, and but he gave me a great roadmap that I followed. So I got to training, and we fast forward. I'm training hard. The first combine I went to was in St. Louis, an American National Combine in 2020, right when this COVID stuff started creeping towards us. And so I go there, I perform really well. I get to talk to a few scouts there. They asked me about my tape, and I was like, oh man, I have junior and senior year of 6 games, and then my sophomore year tape's pretty good, but I couldn't really tell them. I couldn't tell them much because I didn't have games. I was injured. And but I tested well. My 40 was solid. My route running was good. I was practicing receiver and running back at the time just to try to make myself versatile. And after the ANC Combine in St. Louis, American National Combine, I made the hot list for it, and I got an email. And the email stated, you're eligible to play in the German Football League, GFL, or the Maple League, which is in Finland, which is super sweet because I'm like, awesome. Because one of my passions is traveling too. So I'm like, I get to travel and play football. Sign me up. 100%, I'm down. Well, everyone knows what happened in 2020. COVID happened. And I believe, I might be wrong, but I believe that year the only league that was going was the NFL. I think even the CFL, the Canadian Football League, shut down. And so I was very upset. Right, I was about to be in a Zoom call with GMs from the German Football League and negotiate a contract because I didn't have an agent. I was extremely upset, and now I'm thinking, now what? But here's the part of the story that this message is about. So some of you who know me know I had a very, 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 very close relationship with my grandma. She had a huge part in raising me, and I don't want to say this boasting. I believe I was unapologetically her favorite. I'm probably, if my cousins or sister watches this video, I might get a little. But I think I think there was one Christmas where she got me 9 gifts. But anyways, so my grandma was, she was the world to me. She was a hero of mine. She was absolutely inspirational. And so she had Alzheimer's, and her Alzheimer's was getting pretty advanced. And for those of you who know about Alzheimer's disease, it's a nasty disease. It's you basically you start losing your memory, you start deteriorating. You basically, and my grandma was kind of at this state at the time. You revert back to being super dependent. You can't tell the difference between a bleach and apple juice. So, and shout out to my sister and my parents, because they rallied and they took care of her, and we all made sacrifices. My cousins, aunts, uncles, we all made sacrifices for my grandma, because just how integral. She was the matriarch of our whole family, my grandma Josephine. So anyways, we flash forward a year later, right? Because my football career is put on pause. What most people would call, well, it's over. You get a shot out of college, and then, and I, coming from a D3 school, I don't have film. My numbers aren't crazy. I'm half white, half Mexican. That doesn't help in pro football looks. It's just the truth. Like, I don't want to sugarcoat anything. And so, but what ended up happening is in 2021, my grandma passed away. And it was rough. It was rough on the whole family, but in a weird way, it clicked in my head. Had I gone to Germany or Finland, I wouldn't have spent as much time as I did being with my grandma that 1 year she had left on earth. So the message is that sometimes we think something happens that's bad, it's terrible. Selfishly, I wanted to play football and I wanted to travel, because that's two of my passions. I love traveling. I want to see as much of the world as I can. And playing ball, being a part of ball, like 100%. Like but I feel God knew, God, he did know. God knew the day my grandma was going to die, and he knew it wasn't my time to play pro football. And God is so gracious that the very next year I had a tryout for the Rapid City Marshals in South Dakota. And that's a whole nother crazy story. I busted through my shoes at that tryout because I thought I was going to be on a field, and it was in a gym, and I didn't have the right footwear. I'll get into that story later. But the message is, she passed away pretty much in the smack dab of COVID. Had that not happened, had I gone and played football in Germany, I would have missed all that valuable time that I wouldn't trade for the world with my grandma. So today's message is all about, just because something seems bad in your life, or you don't get a job, maybe you interview for something, maybe someone rejects you that you're trying to date, maybe, I don't know, it doesn't matter. It could be anything. But just because something seems bad doesn't mean it is bad. And I think as people, we need to just have patience and understanding. And for me, my faith comes from God. And, my dogs are fighting. And God answered my prayer. The light bulb went off the second my grandma died. I was like, whoa, it wasn't my time to play pro ball. It was my time to be with my grandma and take care of her. So to wrap this message up is, sometimes things may look bad, but change your perspective on things and just have that faith and that trust that just because it looks bad doesn't mean it is bad. Because I'm so grateful that God gave me that last year with my grandma. And if I had played football in Germany, what I thought I wanted, what I wanted most, what I'd been training so hard for, I would not have had that time. So just because something looks bad doesn't mean it is bad, or just because you feel like you've come up short, or something hasn't turned out the way you thought it should be. Have patience and pray about it. And sometimes that won't get answered. It took a whole year for that to get answered. The day my grandma died, that light bulb went off, and I was like, okay, I was meant to be here with her. So anyways, guys, get a little vulnerable, but it's our Motivation Monday. God bless you guys, and we'll see you next time.